Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. What is happening in Udupi and also this other statement that Maharashtra's Deputy Chief Minister has said about true Indology. I'm not going to touch about that today. I'm maybe taking it up on a different level or a different hangout. But I do want to kind of see why suddenly people are saying things that they should not be saying. Anyway, that's my take on it. Udupi, what is going on now? Why did Khushbu Sundar say what she did, what she said? Also, why did Rashmi Samant, who's a known name, she has been known to be a fighter, and she has been very prominent in terms of pointing out, causes that affect Hindus, and why did the police visit her? All this stuff. Now that the FIR is filed, what action then can we expect? Is it just going to be like kept under lid? All that stuff and more. We have a new guest, Adithya Srinivasan, who is the lawyer of Rashmi Samant. We're going to first talk about what happened to Rashmi Samant, and then we will broaden the case, look at the wider scope of this case. What is it that the government doesn't want to be exposed? Secondly, why did Khushbu Sundar, in my opinion, muddy the waters? So let's welcome Adithya. Adithya, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel. Adithya, your video is on.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, great. So we have a good.
Does it show?
Yes, it is showing up. I just going to ask you a simple question. Was just that tweet of Rashmi inquiring about the status of the investigation in the Udupi filming case? Was that why she got a visit from the police? And subsequently, what happened? Kind of give us a brief summary on what has happened thus far. Take it away.
Can I just say, Sri, before I'll answer your question, but just before that, I just wanted to note that I've been a huge, long-time follower of the PGurus channel from
thank you.
Several years back when I was in the US and I was studying there, and then subsequently when I was working in London as well before I came back to Delhi. So I've been a long-time follower of your channel, and I think you put out great content. To answer your question, so in a word, yes. The reason that the police came to Rashmi's residence was because of the tweet that she had put out, alerting the people who follow her and her content about the horror that had taken place in the private college in Udupi, where you had girls of one community, Muslims, essentially secretly record a girl from another community in the bathroom, and that girl who was recorded happened to be a Hindu. So this was the incident that got the police to actually come to Rashmi's residence, and Rashmi herself was not at home at the time. So they had to meet her parents, and they asked questions about, who is Rashmi? Is this where she lives? Where is she right now? Can you get in touch with her? Is this we want to? And throughout the conversation, they seem to say that we need to educate her about what has actually happened, as if there seems to have been a massive difference between what is put out in the daily and the police's version of facts. Anyway, even after they left Rashmi's residence, they called her father a number of times asking about where Rashmi was. The same evening, a little bit later, Rashmi called me up and said, "Look, this is what has happened." And so that's when I put out this tweet, which got a lot of attention. And you had a lot of people who were then alerted to two distinct things that had happened. Right, one was the actual horror that had taken place in the private college in Udupi, and which is by any stretch of imagination and by any standard of a huge and gross invasion of privacy. And then the other thing that happened was the fact that the police had come to Rashmi's residence, asking questions and seeking to provide some enhanced version of the story to try and educate, in an attempt to educate Rashmi. So and that, to do something like that, as I mentioned in the tweet, has the effect of chilling speech. So there were two distinct things that happened. Now, after that happened, obviously a number of events took place. After the police actually came to Rashmi's residence, and at some point of time, it emerged that an FIR itself had been registered, which is sort of vindicating the fact that something had actually happened, something serious had happened, and in that sense, vindicating Rashmi. So after that initial evening when the police came to Rashmi's residence and they kept asking questions, the police have not since had an interaction with her. I have certainly not been contacted, and I don't think there's been an interaction between the police and her. Of course, the incident about Rashmi was something that the police then were required to explain, and they say that they went to Rashmi's house to authenticate the tweet, as if for some reason they believed that Rashmi may not have put out the tweet. And they also obviously had to then clarify about the actual incident that took place in the college, and all of which then culminated in the registration of an FIR.
Thank you so much, Arvind. And I'm going to read out from a tweet thread that Mitesh Kumar Mudukonaje has put out. He says he is running an NGO and he had complained, and his report is recorded after talking to several victims and other students of the college who were eyewitnesses to all the events. And here he has a very detailed step-by-step thing. So he says the particular incident happened on July 18, 2023 around 3 p.m. when the victim student A visited restroom. She saw a hand holding phone camera above the door recording her activities. But when she came out of the restroom, she saw her good friends and classmates AS, S, and A standing in porch. These initials will match with what Rashmi had put out. Can you put out that tweet again, please? Can you show the tweet again, please? Yeah, thank you. Not Mitesh's one, the one that you showed of Rashmi. Because I want to make sure that the initials that he's mentioning match with the names that yes. Says Alimatul, Shaifa, Shabanas, and Alia. So the same thing, AS, S, and A standing in the porch. Student A overheard culprits talking about video recording in their native Beary language, Beary. I have not heard of this language, but she says that she knows this language, having been a good friend of them. She can understand Beary language, and she reported the matter to college office immediately. I'll just stop here for a second. See, Khushbu has sort of muddied the water saying that there was no hidden cameras. Hidden camera is a different connotation. Here, the camera was used was a smartphone. I mean, let us be very clear about that part. So why was the need for Khushbu to, go and muddy the waters? I can't fathom, but let's get back to the facts. The fact is that this girl has been friendly with all these three kids, and she has seen them taking it's like maybe it's like a partially covered door. The person puts it up and you can see the camera come up. So this is a blatant violation of privacy. Under no circumstances can I accept this as a prank. Have you had a chance to talk to any of the victims yourself?
So I have myself not interacted with any of the victims. I think it just based on the kind of insight that appears to come from that tweet. I think the closest sort of English language account that we have of what has happened is in the tweets that were put out by Mitesh. It goes into some detail to A, describe what had happened, and B, it also speaks to the fact that this is not a one-off incident by any account. It seems to be something that has happened a number of times, and it seems to be that the designs involved are also quite nefarious. If you go through the entire thread that he has put out, which keeps getting updated every day as well, it's a very extensive account and it's a very insightful account. And I think it's something that people should read to understand what exactly is happening. And once you read that, it'll not be very difficult for you to see why someone like Rashmi, who's a resident of Udupi, which is her hometown, really felt compelled to put out a tweet calling attention to what has happened so that more people can take notice. I would go so far as to say, Shri, that if people like Rashmi did not put out the tweet and others as well, this could very easily have just been something that got brushed under the carpet based on the kind of actions that the college administration has taken, based on the kind of responses that we initially saw coming from the local police, it's something that would have just been forgotten and brushed under the carpet. And I see some people on social media and on television saying things trying to suggest things of the nature that people like Rashmi are adding communal flame to this incident. I think what needs to appreciate is that if she had not called out to this tweet and brought attention to this tweet, this would have just been something that was on the pages of one local daily on one day and could have very easily just have been forgotten.
I'm just going to continue on with the thread, because there are some relevant sections. This is what really concerns me, that it is not a prank. Whether Khushbu Sundar says hidden camera is not the same as smart video camera, I leave it to her to do the nuancing and parsing. I'm going to just stay with the fact that she said that the investigation is on. Let us leave it at that. And let's go to what the thread says. And this is where it gets really, really crazy. They say the culprit says, culprit girls were always in touch with outside boys of their own community who constantly visit them in black Suzuki Access scooter and meet them outside campus and seen exchanging mobile phones. So, victims and all other students are highly convinced that everything is organized in well-planned manner, as the girls were always using Apple iPhone, which is very secure, and exchanging with outside boys with whom it is alleged that they share recorded videos. This constant meeting between outside boys and culprit girls were already reported a year ago by other students to faculty member Mrs. S, who informed the same to college management. But management led them away with just a verbal warning. Another thing, eyewitness students say culprit girls were behaving as if they were well trained to handle the situation. They were not frightened when caught or facing the police or the college manager. Bloody hell, this is really sad that people are still trying to say. First of all, I don't know why the NCW had to depute somebody, because clearly that has not really helped matters. And second thing is, when I read this thread that it was systematically done, which phone's video did they delete? When the phones were being exchanged constantly, I mean, did the police ever explain that, yes, we did trace it back a year now? And in fact, there is a faculty who has already reported to the management. There is an FIR against the management. Is there any update from the police as to what they have found so far?
So as of now, there is no update from the police. And the police, I mean, they will take some time to conduct an investigation, and by all means, let them conduct the investigation. My worry is that this should not be one of these, sort of paper investigations which is completely lacking in substance, or which finds all the sort of material that doesn't actually point to the truth, but somehow miraculously points to provides exculpatory material for the culprits. This is something which has happened. The incident which has taken place today, as I mentioned, is not something that is happening for the first time. It's by no means a one-off. And the information that you just read out corroborates what I had also said in terms of how the college administration was very happy to take a light touch, sort of callous, uninterested approach. And because we now know that something that had happened a year back was dealt with in a similarly callous manner, right? So let the police investigation happen, but let them find material which is actually proving of the truth, as opposed to finding material, either deliberately not finding material which is which points to the actual facts that have taken place, or finding exculpatory material. So it's important that the investigation happens on a thorough and a proper basis.
And I want our viewers to realize that no political party will come to the aid of Hindus. Hindus have to come to the aid of Hindus. This is a clear-cut message. If you ask me, this is what is really happening. We don't need to depend on somebody else to come and help us out. We need to organize ourselves. And Adithya, you've been in the United States, and you see the spillover of this is happening in US also. A certain ex-president, I won't name him, you all know who he is, suddenly says that if India doesn't take care of its minorities, who are happily taking videos of the majority and circulating it in WhatsApp platforms, that if they are not being taken care of, what do you mean by taken care of, Mr. Obama? What do you know about India? I mean, this is another problem I've seen, Adithya. Every president that visits India will in one meeting say that the minorities are in danger. This is to go back to the constituency of the Bible Belt, where there are people being told that there are millions being discriminated against in India. There is actually nothing could be further from the truth, but somebody has found a clever way to extract money from them. That's what it is. Anyway, that's a separate matter. The question before us is, what was the need for the statement that came from Khushbu? Because I see many layers that you and I may not say, oh, this is not fair, but I see many layers, and I'll be happy to explain those layers. But why do you think she even came and made that statement? Was it even necessary?
I think she could have done just as well by not providing any statement, or
right.
Providing a statement along the lines of saying that the police has been instructed or advised by the NCW to conduct a thorough and proper investigation. Something like that would probably have been less controversial than what happened and what she ultimately said. The statement which she made, it's difficult for me to try and say what her motivations behind putting the statement was, but I think it's the fact that she felt the need to talk about hidden cameras not being there suggests to me that there might have been something on her mind, or something might have been suggested or put to her through one of her interactions. Because otherwise, why focus on that fact, the fact that there were no hidden cameras, as opposed to the fact that, as an NCW member whose primary task, of course, is to look at the welfare and the safety and the security of women, why not focus on the fact that there was, in fact, a secret recording that was taking place in a bathroom, which constituted a gross violation of privacy? So I think it's really difficult to understand that. Of course, she has since put out some clarifications which perhaps sort of lessen the impact of the statement that was made yesterday. But I really can't say why she said what she said yesterday.
Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to pick up something here. Do you think at this point of time, since so much muddying has taken place, should the CBI or the NIA take over this investigation? Because I'll tell you why. If it has been happening for a year, then and there has been one video that came on YouTube. They've actually sanitized the faces, but one video from one TV channel actually came out. So it is not true that it was a prank and it was just on their... Stop talking nonsense. That's all I say. If anybody starts saying this is a prank, I want to slap that person. That's how angry I feel. Because the severity of this situation, to me, warrants a CBI or an NIA investigation. They need to do this thing suo moto. For everything else, the Supreme Court will take suo moto cognizance. These are our girls. These are our daughters. These are our sisters. What are you doing, Mr. Chandrachud? Aren't you watching PGurus? I hope you are watching PGurus. Of course, we don't have much good to say about the justice system, but we don't have anything against individuals. You guys do a great job considering the pressure you are under. So I'm just saying, in your opinion, do you think this needs to be taken out of the hands of the Karnataka Police and given to a central investigating body? Your thoughts?
So look, someone like me would obviously feel a lot more reassured and comfortable if a matter of this gravity and this seriousness is investigated by a specialized, federal agency, or in this case, a central agency like the CBI. All right, but that's let's say an aspiration of mine. For this to actually happen requires a few things in terms of whether the relevant stakeholders view the issue as being as grave and as serious as a lot of us do view it. So whether it actually gets to the stage of the CBI taking over is something else. But I think, if you ask me, based on the information that I have so far come across and the conversations which I have had, I think it's something that is serious enough to merit, a central investigation.
So I was saying that there are several layers, and somebody has actually expressed these layers. And I'm just going to pull up one comment, and I can add to this, because it seems to me somebody was being clever by half, and then it has actually blown up. Just give me 1 second. I'm pulling up one. Oh God, there are lots. There it is. Uma Gargi says this Khushbu is also a Muslim, so she has a soft corner for those Muslim girls. I was also taken aback by her statement. It's against the victim. Her statement will not help the victim. So this is what I was saying about layers. She's a converted Hindu. I don't know whether it's true or not. I mean, she says that now she is back. She's converted to Hinduism. Again, I don't know, but she was born a Muslim. Okay, now, if BJP was trying to use this card and say that, okay, even a Muslim is finding this thing as really bad, that would have been one thing. Then they can say that NCW is actually batting for BJP. In fact, the opposite happened. So this is what gives me concern. What exactly was the intent of this person coming? And you have all these layers. You are a Muslim, you are an NCW member, you're also a BJP member. And then you come up with something that's saying there were no hidden cameras. Is it an attempt to try and tell people that, look, it's not hundreds of people who have been taped, it's only one or two instances? I don't know. Do you think that's a possibility?
Like I said, the motivation behind what she said, and the statement that she gave to the reporters during that mini press conference it's difficult to guess. But the fact that she spoke about these things, the fact that there's no hidden camera, it makes me wonder why talk about the absence of a hidden camera. If you could have, as I said to you earlier on, Sri, you could have just said, look, I want the police to investigate. We've advised the police to do a proper and thorough investigation, and just left it at that. If you truly wanted to be, to provide a completely independent and neutral statement, this is the sort of statement that you could have offered. All right. But then you have specifically spoken about the fact that there were no hidden cameras. If you do want to say that there are no hidden cameras, then given the subject matter of this issue, shouldn't you say that whilst there were no hidden cameras, there appears to have been an incident where there was a secret video recording that took place in the washroom, and by any standard, this constitutes an invasion of privacy. Right? That would have, to me, been a fairer and more reasonable statement, a more considered statement. That's not what happened. She went to pains to say that there were no hidden cameras. She went to pains to say that as the NCW, we are an autonomous body. We are under the government of India, but we need to look at things impartially. I'm not sure that the statement that she made really inspires confidence that this is necessarily being viewed as impartial.
The danger here is that these videos can get circulated. Sometimes you can circulate it outside of India just for that, what can I say, titillative pleasure. And this is the danger that I'm afraid of, that once it gets captured electronically, then there are no limits or bounds. And this really has to be taken as an NIA investigation, because this will not be an isolated incident. That's what really makes me afraid, that because you never find a single cockroach. Udupi has a lot of educational institutions, and the thought has already been sown, and this could become a bigger problem. All sorts of stuff is happening, and PFI ban is just one of the beginning steps. There's a lot more curbing that needs to happen. So I hope and pray that NIA starts getting involved more seriously. This is beyond the capabilities of the Karnataka State Police, because once a phone is being exchanged and the phone is given to somebody else, then sky's the limit as to where they can go and park it. And there are no details given as to how many phones were confiscated, and basically nobody is acknowledging some of the findings in this thread. That's what worries me, Adithya, because this thread is black and white. This guy saying that, he's gone a long distance and explained everything. You have to really take cognizance and take this thing seriously. I really hope that NIA start looking into this. The Home Minister starts looking into it. This spread now again, suddenly somebody says, "Oh, this is Ajmer 1992." Ajmer 1992 could not have been this complex, because there was no social media then. Don't try to conflate the two issues. This is much more serious, much more serious. So Aditya, I'd like to just have you give some concluding thoughts as to where you see this thing headed, and hope that our viewers and also our people in administration take cognizance of this. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So let me first just begin with your remarks itself. Where you said that the real danger begins from the fact that begins from the electronic capturing of the whatever it was that was actually taken, right? And to be clear, our lawmakers were very aware of the fact that even capturing something in the invasion of privacy is a problem, and therefore you have a provision in the Information Technology Act, Section 66E, capital E, which makes it an offense to even capture something videographically if it's an invasion of privacy, and it's a cognizable offense. All right. And as you elucidated, Sri, once you've captured something, there's no saying what can happen with it. Then you simply cannot put a limit on the kind of damage that can be caused once you have captured something electronically. And these things can spread rapidly, as you're well aware. And as you say, there could be international dimensions as well. So I think, to then come to your question about where I see things going, I think this is ultimately going to depend on how the investigators see the damage that can be caused. If they are able to infer that there is a potential national, I'm talking about an interstate or an international angle to it, I think that is the point at which they need to be very serious, and they need to say that, look, this is something that is not this is not something that can be investigated properly and accurately by the state police. This is something that we need to get central agencies involved. We need their resources, their skill sets to come into play in order to do a logical, proper, and thorough investigation into the matter.
Thank you so much, Aditya. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. We will keep you posted on the developments. Thank you once again. Namaskar.